starting to be more accepting and realizing we just need to stay home, which, don't get me wrong, I've been going stir crazy today, being like, oh, what am I going to do? Just like literally just stay home. That's all we need to do. So hopefully this helps you guys to find something to do while we're all kind of stuck inside. So I have designed all of the classes that I'm doing online to not need any props, assuming that people don't really have them. If you do have any props like blocks or bolsters and you like that in your practice, then obviously feel free to use it. If you don't have anything, even things like books or rolled up towels, or I do have a cushion here because I sort of figured that we all maybe would have a cushion, then feel free to use that. But it's more of like just to make it a little bit more comfortable for you. It's not a necessity at all. Also, Zoom doesn't really work very well with music, so there's not going to be any music. But if you do want to have your own music on, it could be nice to have some background music. I am going to get some playlists together for you guys on Spotify and send them out so that you can enjoy those while we are practicing. What else before we begin? I would love it so much if you tell all your friends and tell everyone that you can, get on social media, anything that you can about what we're doing. Feel free to like take photos and post them, anything that you can. I just want to get the word out there and get more yoga to more people, particularly at the moment, because I think the world really needs it. This morning, I also did a vinyasa class, and I did that through Zoom, and I'm going to be posting that to YouTube tonight. So I will send that out to you guys. So if you want to, it's a morning practice. So if you want to do one of those, then that will be available for you. And then tomorrow morning's class is a little bit of a sleep in. It's a 7 a.m. class. So if you want to join me live here again in the morning. But for a lot of these classes, I'm going to try and get the video and upload them where I can. So for tonight's class, because there is a little bit of tension going around that we're all feeling, I thought it would be nice to do more of a tension releasing type of class. So that's what we're going to focus on tonight. As usual, if you want to take a break at any point, if you just want to lie down on your mat and have a little bit of a nap, I'm totally fine with any of that. This is the beauty of a home practice. You can literally do whatever you want. No one can see you. No one knows what you're doing. It doesn't matter about the shapes that you're making or how deep you're getting into a pose. Like, this is the time for you to really go on your own self-awareness and go on the sensations that you're actually feeling and what feels good for you, because quite literally no one else matters at all for your practice. So we're going to start on our backs in Shavasana. Nice comfortable pose. So coming down onto your back, extending your legs out long, bring your feet as wide as your mat. Bring your arms down by your side, palms facing up. Find a little tuck of your chin towards your chest, to your length of your neck. And then closing down the eyes. Breathing calmly through your nose as you start to bring your awareness into the physical. We spend so much time in that state of sort of mental tension, and there's often thoughts racing through our mind all day, every day, in particular at the moment. But this is the time to really just drop into the physical. As you start to pay attention to your physical body, that's the first step in becoming more present and taking control of your mind. So tonight we're going to look at tension in the body and in the mind, but I want you to have a little think to yourself on the areas of your body where you know, almost to a conscious level, that you hold tension. Bringing your awareness into those areas. So for a lot of people, it's right at the back of our jaw. So bring your attention to the back of your jaw and just notice the releasing feeling that you can create. For some people, it might be in your toes. See if you can relax your toes even further. Maybe allowing your feet to fall to the side a little more. I think we all can hold tension in different areas, but I think there's five main areas that we hold tension. And I think that if you hold tension in one of these areas, it's almost like a domino effect that you're going to have tension in the other areas. So the first one is our pelvic floor. I think there's a lot of unnecessary tension that we hold here. The second is our core and our lower back. The third is our chest and our rib cage. The fourth is our shoulders and our neck, which I think is a big one for a lot of people when we sit at desks all day. And then the fifth is our jaw and our head. So what we're going to do while we're lying here is an exercise to release each area, each of those five sort of more powerful tension spots in the body. And we're going to release that tension by bringing awareness to it, bringing activation to it, engagement to the area, and then bringing that release. And although when we are creating that activation, I want you to really squeeze and clench quite tightly, I want you to focus more on the feeling that you get when that release comes. And in that initial release, maybe all the tension won't go away. So we're then going to try and have that little bit extra right at the end and see what we can dissolve in our bodies. To begin with, though, we're going to take a couple of cleansing breaths just to clear ourselves out. So empty the breath that you're on. And then let's start to take a deep breath in, feeling that expansion into your lower belly, your chest, your shoulders, and then open your mouth and clear it out. Do one more like that together. Deep breath in, into the rib cage, into the collarbones. Really fill yourself up. Feel the lungs fill up like a balloon, and then open your mouth and clear. Okay, so we're going to start that engage and release sensation now. So I want you to start to relax the whole rest of your body, and then I want you to start to imagine your pelvic floor. So almost like Kegel exercises, really start to squeeze your pelvic floor. So feel it lifting up, feel that activation, squeeze, try to keep everything else relaxed. Squeezing for another 3, 2, 1, and release it all. Letting go. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, soften even further. Wonderful. We're going to move into our core and our lower back now. So again, try to keep the pelvic floor relaxed as we move to this next area, but really pull your stomach in, squeeze through your core, get really, really tight in that area, nice and strong for 3, for 2, for 1, and release it all away. Take a deep breath in. And a big breath out as you relax. Excellent. Hopefully we're already feeling some of that relief from moving some of that tension, that stagnant energy in our body. The next area we're going to move to is our rib cage and our chest. This one could be a little bit more challenging, but we're just going to work as much as we can. Again, focusing on the release more than the activation, but let's get really active in the rib cage and the chest as much as you can. Feel your chest kind of squeeze in and contract towards each other, pulling in for 3, for 2, for 1. Release it all away. Take a deep breath in and a big breath out. Soften and ease your whole body. This next one is our shoulders and our neck. So when you're ready, start to get really active in your shoulders. Maybe shoulders even come up towards your ears. Squeeze nice and tight. Engage your neck for 3, 2, 1. Release it all out. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Soften. Okay, for this final one, and this is an area that I myself often realize that I'm holding on, or I'm sort of clenching my jaw without being conscious of it. It can actually cause a lot of problems in the jaw, a lot of pain. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to focus on the jaw and the whole face. So again, no one can see you. No one minds what you look like, but we're going to squeeze our whole face together. So start to clench your jaw, start to squeeze all of your facial muscles, get really tight in your whole head for 3, for 2, for 1, and release. Feel that relief come over your face. Inhale. Relax on your exhale. So that exercise of engage and release is a great one to do both in the morning and in the evening when you first wake up or when you're going to bed. Just going through those 5 areas, those 5 channels in your body to release some of the stress, release some of the tension. Because sometimes you might be holding on to tension in your pelvic floor that is actually causing issues in your jaw. So it has that flow-on effect. So we want to find relief in all of the areas. Now we're going to move into Banana Asana. So we're going to stay on our backs. I want you to bring your left foot over to meet your right foot. Hopefully your right foot is towards the bottom right corner of your mat. And then we're going to bring our chest over towards the top right-hand corner of the mat. What I then want you to do is press the back of your head and your chest into the mat and your feet. Lift your hips up and slightly move your hips over towards the left. And then we're going to raise our arms above our head. Take hold of your left wrist with your right hand, and then just start to sort of lean your body over towards the right. Now feel into this. We want a gentle stretch through the left side of our body. Maybe that left foot wants to come up and over, crossing over your right leg. That might feel nice. We're going to be here for a few minutes though, so make any adjustments that you need to so that you're in a position that you can then hold for these next few minutes. This pose is one that probably feels a little more gentle than some of our other yin poses, but it's still got a really good effect on the body, because when you think of your fascia is in big long sheets, and it really likes to be stretched in those full sheets. So when our body is not compressed and we've got that full lengthening sensation that we have in this position, that is what it likes. You're going to get a really good effect holding this one as we stretch and allow that release to come. So much of our yoga is simply about paying attention. It's an important aspect of life to be able to pay attention. You know those people that are distracted all the time, and you can tell even when you're having a conversation with them that they're not really all there. Sometimes they don't always remember things that you say, and you can feel like you're having the same conversation with someone over and over. It comes back to being present. When we're more present and we're able to pay attention to what is happening around us, that's when we notice the differences, notice those littler things in life. And let's face it, we've all got more time to practice that and do that at the moment. And it is a practice. It's not something that we're just going to change in an instant. We've got to show up on our mat. We've got to put the work in. You have to put the effort in for yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. Let's take a final breath here together. And then we're just going to come to the other side. So sort of shimmy yourself back through center, uncross your legs if they were crossed. And then we're going to move our hips slightly towards the right, bring that left foot over towards the bottom left corner. Maybe the right foot crosses over that left leg, or maybe it doesn't. And then bringing your chest towards the right as well. And swap your arms over so that you're holding your right wrist with your left hand. Can you notice any changes from side to side? I know personally for me, in some poses, my right hand side feels a lot more tight. And then in others, my left hand side feels a lot more tight. It doesn't really matter what the answer is, which area is tighter or anything like that. There's no judgment there. But it is interesting to be able to observe that, to have that awareness of your own body where you know yourself a lot better. You know your maybe physical needs a lot better. Is this the first time today that you're consciously breathing? What does that feel like? Tune into what sensation you're experiencing right now. It's important to give our bodies credit. There's so much wisdom within our physical that we can learn from and gain knowledge from simply by showing up and putting the work in. Final breath. Find your way back to center and your knees in towards your chest. Maybe a gentle rock from side to side. As usual, if it feels nice to sort of hang about on one side, or you've got a little bit of tightness on one side, just go ahead and do that. Eventually, we're going to roll to one side and press ourselves up We're actually going to come into downward dog to begin with, and we're going to head into pigeon pose. So before we do, if there's anything in downward dog that you want to do, maybe bending generously through one or both knees, go ahead and do that. And then we're going to inhale our right leg up to three-legged dog and bring your right knee towards your right elbow, your right foot over towards the left, and then lower your leg down. Drop your left knee down and start to walk that left knee back, just as much as it feels comfortable for you, and then untuck your back toes. Now point that right foot, and a couple of things here. One is try and rotate your ankle sort of outwards, so rotating your shin outwards. As you do that, see if you can then press your knee down so that your thigh, your right thigh is almost rotating outwards the other way. What that's going to do is help to protect your knee. It may take a little bit of the stretch away from your right hip. If that is the case, we're then just going to bring that left hip back a little bit, or that left knee back a little bit. If you do have any props, maybe you want to put it underneath that right hip as well, that right sit bone. Open up through your chest. Find a little bit more length through the spine. Take a deep breath in. Imagine that you're being pulled from the top of your head upwards. And then we're going to start to walk ourselves forward into our sleeping pigeon. You might choose to stay on your forearms. You might choose to bring your forehead all the way down to the mat. Whatever feels good for you. Trying to take some of the effort out of it. If you do other forms of yoga or exercise in general, there's a lot of effort in that. Whereas this, we're trying to get rid of some of that. We're here to relax, in a sense. We're here to bring rejuvenation to ourselves. So as much of the unnecessary effort that you can get rid of it. Now's the time. It's when you get rid of that effort and you move into that place of stillness, of quiet, that you'll begin to notice what else is going on. Notice how you respond to certain things. For example, for a lot of people, pigeon pose is somewhat of a struggle to do. It can feel quite uncomfortable, particularly when we hold it for a few minutes. So when you go into that still place and then the discomfort comes, what is it that goes on for you? How do you handle that more mental challenge? We've still got a little bit more time here, a little bit more time to connect within. As far apart as we are, let's take this final breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly starting to bring yourself back up. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, slide that right leg back, and come into any sort of movement that feels good for you. So I like to come onto my hands and knees and just move my hips from side to side, but yours might look completely different. That is fine. Once again, going for more of that sensation than what you look like. Resetting here. Resetting between our poses when we spend that longer period of time in a pose. This part is really important. When you're ready, feel free to keep going in anything that you're doing. We're going to come to the other side. So lifting back up into downward dog. Inhale your left leg up and then bring it forward into pigeon. So left knee towards your left wrist, left foot over to the right, drop that right knee and then walk your right foot back. Your right foot and your right knee. They're both going back. Flatten through that right foot and then point your left foot and try and find that slight rotation of the shin and the ankle, and then press down into your left knee, and maybe that right knee wants to come back even further. Lift through the sternum, elongate through the spine. Let's do this together again, connecting from different areas that we're all in. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, starting to come down into that position that works for you. There's no need to force anything. There's no need to put yourself in a painful position. We want to be able to feel this pose, but not be going in so strong that all we can think about is wanting to come out of it. And once you're in, once you've found the stillness, just give yourself some space. When we give ourselves space, that's where real expansion happens. If there's no space for the expansion to happen, there's no room for growth, for evolution. And that is quite literally what we're all, in a way, being forced to do right now, is give the whole world some space so that we can expand and evolve. So let's work with that and do that on a personal level, in your practice, in the four corners of your mat. I encourage you to come back to your breath now. These last few moments in this pose. Consciously breathing. Conscious and aware. Bringing calm into your mind. Because the mind will follow. You don't actually have to put in that much work. There is a little bit of work, but sometimes I think we overcomplicate things and at times just try and clear our thoughts and get rid of things, but we don't necessarily have to do that. If we just pause and give ourselves the space to kind of reboot a little bit, to regroup and refocus, come back to the breath, come back to that foundational tool that you can use. Okay, let's do it together. Let's have our final breath. Take a deep breath in, everyone. And a big breath out. And then starting to lift yourself back up. This time we're just going to roll over onto that left hip. Again, we're going to find a little bit of free movement. So if you want to head back into your tabletop position, feel free to do that. Maybe we want to move the legs from side to side though. Just whatever feels good for you. Okay. We are going to move into our butterfly pose. So if it feels nice for you, you can always sort of prop yourself up a little bit. If it feels uncomfortable just sitting on the ground like this, you can also grab any sort of prop that you want and use it sort of as a bit of support. The feet are going to come together though. I'm going to give you guys a few options. So if you do want to watch me for a moment and then just see what one sort of works better for you. The first one is holding onto the top of your feet and kind of leaning down like this. Maybe the elbows even come down. You might want to hold onto your ankles and sort of press your knees down at the same time, lowering down. Or you may want to bring your arms kind of inside your legs so that you're sort of more like a cocoon within yourself type of thing. And then lower yourself down. And the pillow or the bolster or the block or anything that you have can be used with any of those to come down and just rest down on that if you would like to use it. And just kind of settling in to this hip opener. Finding your breath again. And see how quickly you can refocus yourself. When no one else is around, when no one is necessarily telling you what you should be doing. Can you kind of become your own teacher, your own coach in a sense? Because you're with yourself all the time. And in these next few months, we're going to be without others for more periods of time. So we have to start to rely on ourselves a little bit more. We have to start to be able to bring ourselves out of some of that more negativity that causes a lot of tension in the body. You ever notice when you're feeling negative or stressed or anxious, you have a physical change in your body. Things start to tense up. Without even noticing, you're clutching in your body. It's important to be aware of what it feels like to be tense, because there's a lot of good that comes in tension. We actually need tension, particularly in our bodies. In some ways, tension holds us together. In other ways, tension allows us to do certain workouts to look after our bodies, to keep ourselves healthy. It's all a positive thing. But when we are able to be really aware of what tension feels like and what relaxation feels like, and we can then have control over being in either one of those states, that's where the real power comes, within yourself. That's where that exercise that we did at the beginning can be really helpful in practicing regularly to get to know what the release feels like. Get to know what letting go on a physical level feels like. Okay, let's take a final breath here. Deep breath in. Maybe drop in a little further as you breathe out. And then let's start to lift ourselves back up. All the way. Bring your knees back together. Find a little windscreen wipe of the legs from side to side. Nice work, guys. We're nearly there. Okay. We're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So I don't know what way you guys are turned on your mat right now, but turn to face the long way so that you've got a little bit more padding depending on what surface your mat is on top of for the heels. And then shift your hips back a little bit. Try and keep your legs somewhat active here. If you do have a bolster or some sort of prop or something you can put out in front of you to maybe rest on, a pillow might not necessarily work unless you've got the flexibility that you can come all the way down. So you can always just use your hands as support. Let's try and find as much length through our spine as possible. So I want you to visualize your lower back. As you take your next breath in, visualize the breath traveling from your lower back all the way up your spine to the top of your head, lengthening the whole way. And then as you breathe out, start to bring yourself forward and down. The option is there if you want to have a little bit more activation to grab onto your feet and pull yourself down. But you might find it enough just kind of using your hands as support in front of you. And if you notice that your toes are kind of pointing inwards, we don't want too much internal rotation of the hips. The same as if they're pointing outwards, we don't want too much external rotation. We want to try and find that balanced place. So your toes are ideally pointing up towards the ceiling in line with your knees. When we're talking about tension, let's pay attention to our thighs and our quads here, because when we're stretching our hamstrings and we're kind of going in the inner hamstring at the moment, it is important to have that counteraction of activation in your thighs, in your quads. So we don't want to just completely let go here. You want to have some engagement for this particular stretch. In any sort of forward fold, I think it is a great opportunity to work with the breath and work with creating that slight change in your body. So when I'm in a forward fold, each breath that I take, I have that same visualization that we took coming into this, of that elongation of the spine on the in-breath, and then dropping into the pose on the out-breath. And that doesn't necessarily mean coming in deeper to the pose, although if you feel like your body is releasing and you're able to, then fine. But it's more about letting go in the pose and just allowing your body to have a level of acceptance as you sort of become a bit more at ease, a little bit more settled, which the whole world could use a bit more of at the moment. So I think it's so important for all yoga teachers. And I've seen so many going online recently. It's important for us to really start to share what we know, start to take people through these practices, because the world really does need it right now. Let's join ourselves together for this final breath. Inhale. Exhale. And then starting to lift yourself back up. Move slowly, be gentle with yourself. Maybe use the support of your hands to bring your legs closer together. Maybe the knees come from side to side. And we're going to find our way onto our back once again, same as how we started our practice. Coming all the way down, extending the legs long, arms by your side, palms facing up. Tuck your chin to your chest. Feel your toes and feet fall to each side, letting your legs just be completely relaxed here. Bring your attention to the bottom of your feet, the arches of your feet, the bottoms of your toes, your toe mounds, the pads of your feet. We walk on all day, maybe not all day, but throughout the day. Can you release some tension there? Can you feel that tension just kind of melt away almost like heat radiating off something? It's like it's visible in a way, the release of the tension. And bring your awareness into your hips and your pelvis. Feel even more tension just release out. Let's use our breath with this one. Take a deep breath in. Relax as you exhale. Before we go into our quiet time for Shavasana, let's bring our attention into our shoulders. Sometimes it can feel like the whole weight of the world is being carried on our shoulders. The one thing we can maybe take comfort in at the moment is that we're all going through this together. It's not just a weight on your shoulders, but regardless, either way, we want to release some of that. So together, connected through this online world, let's take a deep breath in. And feel it all let go as you exhale. Right now, you're in the comfort of your own home. So if you want to stay here for as long as you want, go ahead and do that. It's not going to make any difference to me. If you're ready to move, start to bring some awareness back to your physical body by wiggling your toes, touching every finger with your thumbs, rolling your head to the right and then the left. And then bending your knees and roll over to your favorite side, maybe using your arm as a pillow. Taking a few more moments of peace on your side here. Let's take a deep breath in. And just drop into the ground as you exhale. Keeping your eyes closed, your focus within. Gently come up to any comfortable seat of your choice, whether that's cross-legged, on your knees, whatever you want. When you arrive, bring your palms together at your heart center, pressing your thumbs to your sternum to your thumbs. Slightly bow your head. Relax your shoulders. Stay focused within. Through these more troubling times, we need to remember what we have control of, and that is ourselves. That's not anything in the outside world. And the more time that you spend connecting with that inner self and learning how to release some of that tension, learning more about your body, when tension is good, when tension can maybe be let go of, you'll live an easier and happier life. Thank you for joining me tonight, guys. Sending you love and gratitude from my room to yours. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Hopefully you're still with me. Let me see. Yeah, seems like you guys are still here. Awesome. Good to see. Thank you so much for going and joining me online. As I said, hey, oh look.
Hi.
Oh my God, that's so exciting. As I said, 7 a.m. tomorrow, I will be teaching. I will be back here. And then I'm doing a Saturday morning, 7:30, and a Sunday, 4 o'clock. Really soon, I'm going to have my website up and running, and it will be so much easier for you to book, and it will all be on there a lot clearer, which will be exciting. Please tell all your friends.